This video will deal with some real-world radical formulas. We will be applying what we've learned about exponents in the order of operations to do these problems. Alright, so let's look at the first problem. The capsize screening value C should be less than 2 if a boat is to be considered safe for ocean sailing. So we have a 1963 Cascade 29 sailboat, okay? Capsize screening value is going to be calculated. So the boat has a beam of 8 foot 2 inches and a displacement of 8,500 pounds. And we've been given this formula to figure out what the capsize screening value is. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to substitute the values for the variables. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. So we have D is the displacement, which is 8,500 pounds. And B is the beam width, and the beam width is 8 foot 2 inches. Well, that has to all be in feet, so we need to convert the inches into feet, and so there's 12 inches in a foot, so it's 2 out of 12, right? So we're going to divide 2 divided by 12, and that will get us all in feet, which is 8 and 2 divided by 12 is 0.1666, so we're going to just round that up to 0.17. Alright, so here is our formula with the values plugged in. Alright, so according to the order of operations, the exponents are solved first, okay? And so I'm not going to use that calculator to compute the exponent. I'm going to do it by hand so you can see it. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. So C equals 4, right, because that stays the same. We're going to be dealing with the exponent here. It's a negative exponent, alright? So we're going to take its reciprocal and then change the sign of its exponent. So let's go ahead and do that. Everything else stays the same because we're just dealing with the exponents at this point. Alright, so now we have a rational exponent, and so to deal with that, what we're going to do is we are going to use radical notation to rewrite this. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so what is the cube root of 8,500? So for this, I'm actually going to use a calculator. Okay, so we can see that the cube root of 8,500 is 20 point, let me see, write this over here, 20.408. Alright, so now we're done with our exponents, so now we can just multiply from left to right. We can certainly do that, but I think it might just be easier for you just to convert this fraction to a decimal and then multiply. You don't have to, you can just, just multiply across and then you'll eventually be dividing by the 20.408. So either way it works fine, but I'm just going to convert it. I think it's going to look a whole lot neater. Zero 4899. So C is 1.60. Alright, so our capsize screening value for C is 1.6. and that is less than 2. So remember that if the cap size screening value is less than 2, then that boat is considered to be safe for ocean sailing. So our 1963 Cascade 29 sailboat is safe for ocean sailing. Alright, in this next formula, it's a formula similar to the capsize screening value that we just looked at a minute ago. Alright, in this formula, they want us to just solve for G. Alright, so no substitution is going to be taking place because the formula, we're just manipulating the formula itself. Alright, so the first thing that we want to do, right? Well, our goal is to isolate G, get it all by itself. Alright, well, to isolate G, right now 1.1h is being multiplied to it. Alright, so what we're going to do to undo multiplication, we're just going to divide by that so we can get rid of it. Alright, so I'm going to rewrite the equation over here, and I'm going to go h and then g, because remember, it doesn't matter what order when we're multiplying. Okay, so we're going to divide both sides by 1.1h. Okay, because remember, we're trying to isolate the G. Okay, we're trying to get it all by itself. Alright, so these are going to go away. And we're left with G to the minus 1/4 power. Alright, so now in order to get rid of our negative exponent, alright, we're just going to raise all of the pots of both sides to the minus 4th power. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now remember, we're going to multiply the exponents here. When it's raised to the power, we're going to multiply. Alright, so this over here, it becomes a minus times a minus is going to be a positive. Alright, 4 times 1 is 4. And the denominator stays the same. So as you can see, 4 over 4 is 1, right? So really this over here just becomes G. And so then remember, we're going to raise all of the pots of both sides to that minus 4. So this becomes D to the minus 4 over 1.1 to the minus 4 and H to the minus 4. Alright? So now, when we have a negative exponent, alright, what we're going to do is we have to get the reciprocal, alright? So basically, this whole left side here, it becomes the reciprocal to the 4th power, alright? So we're going to flip it, and then everything becomes positive, right? So this becomes positive, this becomes positive, and then D to the 4th, okay? Alright, so let me move up here a little bit. Okay, so we have 1.1 to the 4th power, and so 1.1 to the 4th power is 1.4641, alright, and so then that's H4 over D4, alright, so actually we are done. So G is all by itself. This is as simplified as it can be. So our answer is G equals 1.4641 times H to the 4th power over D to the 4th power. Alright. Okay, in this next problem, we've been given the formula for computing the sail power of a boat based on the area of the sail in square feet and the displacement, alright, which is in pounds. So the formula for to compute the sail power is S equals 16A D to the negative 2/3 power, alright, where S stands for the sail area displacement ratio, alright. Alright, so we've been giving the values that the sailboat, the sail area of the sailboat is 510 square feet, and it has a displacement of 8,500 pounds. So we're going to plug those values into the formula, alright, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're solving for S. Alright, so A is 510, and D is 8,500, and that is going to be raised to the negative 2/3 power. Alright, so let's go ahead and figure this out, and I'm not going to use a calculator. I'm going to actually try and go step by step. Once we're at a simple point where multiplication is where we need to be, then I'll go ahead and use a calculator. All right. So for example, so 8,500 to the negative 2/3 power. Okay. We're going to get the reciprocal and then make it positive power. All right. All right. So now we're going to rewrite all over here because we're not going to be dealing with this just yet. We're going to be doing that last. We're still dealing with our exponents here. Okay. So 8,500 to the 2/3 power becomes 1 over, remember we're still dealing with a fraction here, the square root 8,500, and actually it's going to be the cube root, okay, and that's going to be raised to the power of 2. Alright? Okay, so again we're still dealing with exponents, so we're still dealing with this set of parentheses right here. Alright? So we have 1 over. So what is the cubed root of 8,500? And we actually got that in our last problem, not actually the problem before last, okay? And I still have that value here, so I'm going to go ahead and just plug that in. It's 20.4082755. The more decimals you have, the more exact it will be. So I'm just going to go out for this many here. And now that's going to be to the 2nd power, okay? Alright, so let's just go ahead and take care of our exponent down here. Alright, so 20.4082755 to the 2nd power, alright, is, and we're still dealing with our fraction, this is the denominator, okay, 416, and I'll just go out 3 decimals for this particular portion. Alright? Alright, so now we're done with our exponents. So now we just, according to the order of operations, we're just going to multiply, right? We're going to multiply from left to right, whatever occurs first. Okay, it's multiplication or division from left to right, but we only have multiplication here. So let's just go ahead and multiply from left to right. But first, I'm just going to convert this fraction to a decimal to make it cleaner. Okay, you could just leave it as a fraction and then multiply it, but I think it'll be a lot cleaner if we just right away just convert it to a decimal. Alright, so I'm just going to go out 4 decimals there. Alright, so now we're going to multiply from left to right. So 16 times 510 is 8160. Okay, and then 8160 times 0.0024 is going to be 19.584. So now we want to look at, it looks like we've been given another formula that's similar to the sail area displacement ratio that we dealt with earlier. Okay, so once again, we're going to be solving for G on this new one. So let me go ahead and clear my screen here. Alright, so our formula that we're dealing with now is T equals 8B, and it's G to the minus 3/4 power. Alright, and again we're going to be solving for G. So our goal is to get G all by itself, isolate G. Okay, so we can see right now that G isn't by itself, alright, it's being multiplied by 8B. Well, to undo multiplication we divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 8B. Okay, and so over here these factors are going to cancel out. We're going to be left with G to the minus 3/4 power. Okay, well, this really still isn't simplified, right? G is not by itself. It's actually raised to the minus 3/4 power. So to get rid of our exponent here, we're going to multiply both sides. Actually, we're going to raise both sides to the minus 4/3 power. Okay, and so what happens over here? Okay, we're going to multiply our exponents here. It's going to be a positive 12/12, right, which is 1. Okay, so essentially over here is just G. Okay, and over here it's T to the minus 4/3, 8 to the minus 4/3, and B to the minus 4/3. Okay, so what we're going to do is get the reciprocal, alright? So this left side basically gets flipped and our exponents become positive. Okay, so this becomes 8 4/3 b and 4/3 over t to the 4/3 power. Alright, so 8 to the 4/3 power, okay, it becomes, I'm gonna actually go up here a little bit so you can see. That's going to become 8, the cube root of 8, multiplied by b to the 4/3 power over t to the 4/3 power. Okay. All right. So now what this is we need to get the cube root of 8, okay, which is 2. Okay, and then 2 raised to the 4th power is 16. Okay, well this is as far as we can go. G is isolated, everything else has been simplified. So the answer is G equals 16 times b to the 4/3 power over t to the 4/3 power. Okay, well that concludes this video.